Hey guys, it's Monday, Day by Day Expressions. We are talking design and build and beauty with Nikki Thompson here. And so, Nikki, we've kind of gotten into your background about what you do in remodels, and actually and we're going to talk about this later in another episode, but Airbnbs and stuff like that. And we've talked about the connection between architecture and design and our creator. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit more practical and kind of really get into your world. So let's say my wife and I come to you and we say we want to remodel. We want to remodel our home. What are some of the questions that you're going to try to get us to think about?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what are your goals in the renovation? How do you want your home to function?
Okay.
And then after we go through that nitty-gritty, the second thing, and really what's going to dictate my design, is how do you want your home to feel? What's the story you want your home to tell?
Yeah, we don't oftentimes think about that our home gives us a sense of or a feeling or something like that. But it absolutely does. And we've seen some changes probably over the last generation, 2 generations or something like that, to where the home that I grew up in as a child, each room was clearly defined.
Right.
There was the kitchen, there was the dining room, there was the living room. Every room had its particular 4 walls. Mm-hmm. That's not as popular or as prevalent today. Why is that?
Yeah, so today you're seeing more of a trend toward open floor plans.
Yeah.
We've seen that for a couple of decades now. And I think that's because people recognize that where they gather is usually around the kitchen island.
Yeah.
Where people are working. And so why not incorporate that into the living space as well?
So that's a very functional thing, but it's also, it expresses how you want your home to feel there. And I think about my home, and we've got one big room that includes the kitchen, the living room, and our dining room. And you're right, more times than not, when we have people over, and we have people over all the time, they all gather in the kitchen, and they're just kind of snacking away and all that stuff. But that is, it makes people feel comfortable. It kind of reduces formality, I would think, there. All right, Nikki, so we have talked about just kind of general layout, going from how the trend has been from choppy rooms to a more open floor plan. But let's talk even practical matters of stuff on the walls, because there was a time where you had these big, beautiful paintings and different things like that. One of the things that I see, and what we have up in our house, the artwork is actually words. It's actually, we have prayers up on our walls, or, I've seen where there's just a sign that says coffee bar or something like that. And this is a very personal thing, right? Because I think you talked about that you have very functional things on your. So what would be some of those functional things that you have on your wall that are particular to your home?
Yeah. So we were talking earlier that I think of myself more as a designer than a decorator.
Yeah.
I've always struggled with how to decorate my house. And so I lean personally into more functional decor. So I don't have a lot of art on my walls, but I have, for example, hanging blankets. And those blankets serve as large-scale art.
Right.
And then I can take it off the wall and I can cozy up with it. I've got a lot of open shelving in my kitchen. I've got shelves with my plates displayed very prettily, as well as potted plants. So little things like that. But when I'm talking to clients about furnishing their home, a lot of times I will refer them to a decorator, but I encourage them to fill their homes with things they love,
right?
Versus just bringing in space fillers. And I think what that does is it allows them to incorporate their personality into their decor and their furnishings. It gives them a story to tell.
I think we can fall into a trap when we see these TV programs and we think, that's so beautiful, I would just want to copy that.
Right.
And it becomes very impersonal because that's not your stuff and you don't have a story to tell with that stuff. But like with the blankets even, like I'm thinking about in our home, some of the blankets my grandmother made or my aunt made. And so there's a story behind that.
It just give it a prominent spot.
Exactly. And so there is something to the practical matters of design and decoration that are going to make people feel a certain way. And if you're comfortable in your home, chances are other people are going to be comfortable there as well, instead of walking into a very institutional type of cold feeling type of place. And so that's your tip for today when it comes to thinking about, you've got people coming into your house for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and how do I make this a hospitable, cozy, warm place where people want to be? Make sure your personality is reflected in it. All right, until next time on Day by Day Expressions.